Welcome back to another Roll Tide Rewind Basketball Edition video. I again have Owen Barnes from the Barnes on Bama podcast. Owen, how are you doing today? And tell the listeners how they can get to your videos or podcasts.
Absolutely. I'm doing great today. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate having me on to talk some Alabama basketball. My show is here on YouTube called Barnes on Bama, as well as you can get the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm a part of the Believe Podcast Network, so we're out there everywhere. So happy to have you guys join us.
Well, we appreciate you coming on to our show. We're here to talk about Amari Allen, who might be Alabama's X factor this year. Going into the year, when I was reading stuff, I thought Amari Allen was just going to be, he's a freshman coming in. Is there going to be playing time for him? And then I went and watched him at the Furman game, exhibition game, and I realized quickly, not only can he play, he might be a starter. And so far this season, he has played the second most minutes of any Alabama player. Owen, what were you hearing this summer about Amari Allen, and how has he impressed you so far this year?
Yeah, so coming into the year, he was somebody that you were concerned about the skill talent that he played against in Wisconsin. I think that was kind of the consensus about Amari Allen. He was a lower ranked guy, in the 40s or 50s. So not like terrible or any by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely not one of the higher ranked recruits. But a lot of people were just concerned that he had played against some poor competition in Wisconsin. Then I talked to some people that I trust. I know I had Jordan Harper on the show. I've had some others on the show and asked them that had been at practice, like, hey, what are y'all seeing? And Amari Allen's name kept coming up. Him and Keaton Bristow were kind of the two names that you heard coming out of practice. Like, hey, obviously we expect LeBaron's going to be good, but give me a name that people aren't aware of. And those were the two names that kept popping up. So it was somebody that I wanted to watch pretty closely. I will say he's been better than I anticipated. I think what he's shown us that I didn't fully anticipate is just a level of physicality and toughness from a rebounding standpoint that you don't often see as a freshman, especially a freshman guard. And I use guard loosely. Officially that's what he is, but he's at 6'8". He plays much bigger than that, and he really can rebound the basketball. And I'm sure we'll talk about it here in this episode. But I think that that's what he's been able to do this season that's really impressed me so much. And it's the reason why I think that he's definitely one of your X factors this season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go into the tape. We'll start off with the scoring ability of Amari Allen. He's not like been flashy this year scoring wise. I think, like you said, Owen, where he's been shown the most is his physicality, which we'll get to later in the video. But I've been very impressed with watching Amari Allen in his fast break ability, getting down the court. You can see it there on the first go with the dunk. You see it here with this 3-pointer against Purdue. I thought he showed great flashes yesterday against Illinois. He got our first bucket of the game right here. And this is an NBA three. It's a deep NBA three. You see that black line? That's the NBA line. That's not the college line. What have you seen out of Amari Allen offensively, Owen? And like, how do you think that is all he's 7.5 points per game so far, 35% 3-point percentage. He's got a lot of room to improve, and I think that 7.5 could possibly go above 10 this year. And also, he's almost like 8 rebounds per game. We'll get to his rebounding ability in a little bit, but that's almost averaging a double-double as a freshman against this elite competition so far. So what do you think about Amari Allen's offensive ability so far?
Yeah, I think his offensive ability is the part of his game that I expect to continue to get better and better as he gets more comfortable in the system. I think that what he's doing so far is he's giving the physicality from a defense and rebounding perspective because he's listening to what Nate Oats preaches, like lose yourself in the game and the offense will flow. And I think that at times you're definitely seeing that with Amari Allen. I think that one of the places he has had a lot of success is in the fast break because I think that what he can do from the rebounding, right? He gets the rebound and then he can lead the fast break. And I think that's a very underrated part of his game because he has the handles and the ability to do that. Additionally, the fact that he's strong enough to go up for the dunk. I know he did miss one in the Illinois game, but he definitely can go up for that dunk and finish with that strong finish at the rim. And I think that that's a big deal because obviously you're happy to see guys like LeBaron or Aiden that can have the finesse around the rim. But I think that in certain games, going up with that physicality around the rim is a very big deal. Additionally, I think his 3-point shooting, as you mentioned, he's 5 of 14 for 35%, which is not bad. Obviously, I think that number may even go up a little bit. I think that he's more of like a 37, 38% shooter with what I'm seeing. Could he, go on a streak and definitely get hotter than that? Sure. But I think that realistically, he's like that 37, 38% range. And then the place where he's honestly not had as much success, but I think that his scoring will go up is from 2. He's 6 of 15. And the fact that he obviously hasn't been taking a ton of mid-range shots just because Alabama doesn't take those, I think that's a spot of his game which I expect to increase as the season goes along. So as he continues to get better from that standpoint, I do think that, a 10 and 10 type player, 12 and 10 type player is definitely a possibility for this season.
Yeah, he's like blowing away my expectations. I absolutely agree. And we'll go here into these next few clips. I've been impressed offensively. It's not talked about a lot, his passing ability and being able to find like almost the right guy, the right shooter for the certain situation. But the first clip, getting the ball to Aiden Holloway, you're going to see here driving, getting to Taylor Bowen, who's been absolutely on a hot streak from the corner 3. But I've noticed, like, and you can see here with some good defensive ability, get the rebound that you mentioned, leading the fast break, but throws it right to our guy the way that we want to do the pop up 3 in transition, Latrell Wrightsell. What have you been liking so far from Amari Allen from a facilitator standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, like that was a perfect example of when he grabbed that rebound, starts the fast break, gets it up in to your shooter in Latrell Wright. So I think that's a perfect example of kind of what I perfectly see him in because of his rebounding ability, being able to lead that. I think he has really good vision. I agree with you. I think that his passing has been very solid. I think additionally, what helps you from a passing perspective with Amari Allen is again, because he's a 6'8" guard, depending upon how they guard him, right? Are they going to treat him like a true guard and put like a 2 or a 3 on him and have him be substantially bigger than the guy he's up against? Or are they going to guard him with a 4 that's probably more his size, but it's going to be much slower? I think sometimes he can take advantage of that and draw the help from that bigger defender because the smaller, if they guard him with the standard 2 or 3 and you've got a guy that's 6'4", 6'5", because of the physicality that he has, I think he can bring that physicality, cause a bigger body to shift over, and that's where you see a Taylor Bobo and hit a 3 in the corner, right? That's what I think his passing ability does for him is that he can find that open guy when the opposing team has to adjust to him. But I really do think that his passing ability is a more underrated part of his game. And honestly, I think that right now he's hunting the pass a little more than the shot. I think that as he gets more comfortable in Nate Oats' system, he's going to hunt the shot a little more. And I think that Alabama will be better for it. Obviously, I don't want him to be a just shoot, shoot, shoot person, but I definitely think that him not being afraid to let it fly at times is something that Nate Oats is definitely going to want to see.
Yes, I would definitely agree. Also, I just love this pass right here. And you see what a good setup this play was right here to Aiden Holloway. You see, as soon as Aiden passes the ball to Amari, Aiden's already running behind an Aiden Sherrill screen. You can see here LeBaron Filon's going to stand up, and he already knows this is going to be a easy 3 for Aiden Holloway. But, credit to Amari Allen for getting the play to where it was. We'll move into Amari Allen's best aspect of his game, probably, or one of his best aspects is his rebounding ability and being able to continue possessions like this here against St. John's. He's a great offensive rebounder. This is off of a free throw right here to continue a possession. And he's always able to call a timeout as he's going out of bounds. I feel like Houston Millette gets one of those a game, and Amari Allen does too. And then I just feel like with his rebounding ability has been a very big separator from this year's team, from other year's team, where you have a guard, 6'8" guard. Well, he's more like a forward, I guess. But like he's essentially a guard that's able to go down and get rebounds and be in double territory pretty consistently. He leads the team right now with 8 rebounds a game. But you can see here why his rebounds are so important and how they can lead to extra possessions, and they also can lead to extra 3-pointers and also just preventing offensive rebounds, which that was a big issue in the Purdue game where Purdue out-rebounded Alabama by 24 rebounds, which a lot of that had to do with Keaton Bristow not being in the game. And it's hard to ask Amari Allen to get a lot of rebounds over Trey Kaufman-Renn. But what have you liked so far about Amari Allen getting to the glass?
Yeah, I think that, like I said, and as you're seeing in some of these clips, whether it be in the St. John's game and the Illinois game, I think that obviously they're calling a timeout. It's a huge deal. I think that, again, you saw multiple instances of him grabbing the rebound and then starting the break in transition. Like this one right here, he grabs the rebound. Everybody's able to run in transition. Alabama gets the shooters in the corners. Obviously, this specific one, he just goes to the rim, kicks out. But this is one where if you get the ball in transition enough times, you're going to be able to have your shooters in the corner to find the 3 that you want to find. Obviously, Alabama finishes with 3 on that possession, but I think that running in transition, if you keep in transition long enough, you're going to get the shots you want to get. Additionally, I think that kind of as you said, I think that his rebounding and physicality, Nate Oats has even talked about it, what he's been able to do when we don't have Taylor and Aiden Sherrill in there, when you don't have the starters in there with the same level of size, you're able to play him either at the 4 or the 5. With Keaton Bristow coming back, you can play him, or sorry, play him at the 3 or the 4. With Keaton Bristow coming back, you can play him a little bit more at the 3 and have a true massive roster out there with Amari Allen, Taylor Bobo, and Keaton Bristow. I think that you'll additionally see him and Keaton Bristow out there at the same time if you want to go a little smaller, where you play Amari at the 4 and Keaton at the 5, because I think that again those two guys gives you enough rebounding. As you said, the Purdue game, he did not rebound the ball. It was his worst rebounding game of the year. He only had 4 rebounds with no offensive. I think part of that had to do, and I talked in one of my videos about, I think that Purdue was allowed to kind of move guys off the block a little more. I think Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn were not called for as many rebounding fouls as were called in the Illinois game, for example. In the Illinois game, early in the game, the officials really set the tone for that game and made sure that Mirkovic and Alabama side as well were not going to be allowed to move guys off the ball to be able to get the rebound. And I think that in that Purdue game, you definitely saw some more of that. So I think Amari Allen did struggle with that at times, where Trey Kaufman-Renn and Oscar Clough just kind of moved him off the ball. But again, I think that his rebounding is a huge part of this game. I think it's also what allows Alabama's tempo to be so good. It was the reason why in my pregame thread that I wrote talking about the Illinois game, Amari Allen was my player to watch, and it was because of his rebounding, right? It was not because of his scoring. It's because I thought his rebounding was going to get us out in transition, and that his rebounding was going to cause us to be able to get the tempo up. And Alabama had 79 possessions. So I think that the tempo definitely got up as I kind of expected.
Yeah, I think his rebounding is definitely one of his best parts of his game. It allows Alabama to really be very elite in some levels of the game. But I think where Amari Allen is at his best, though, is his physicality as a defender and also just as an offensive player, too. But his physicality is what I love most. Like Nate Oats raves about about the blue collar mentality, about how the blue collar points, you want to get points for diving on the ground, getting steals, being tough. And Amari Allen emphasizes that a lot. And he right now leads Alabama in steals. He's played the second most minutes of any player. He's almost playing like a starter, like his second most minutes. He started the first game due to a few injuries, but he's been one of the first guys off the bench in the last few games. But he's second most minutes. Nate obviously trusts him. Nate obviously thinks he's a big part of the team. And a lot of that has to do with he puts in the effort in these games. Like my favorite clip of the season probably is the St. John's clip right here, where LeBaron hits a step back 3 to go up by 10. And then we have 3 guys diving on the floor for the ball, and St. John's has 0. And then it leads to a Latrell Wrightsell and 1, where I got so pumped up. It was an amazing feeling that I hadn't felt in a long time. But you see it like Amari Allen, he's just going for the ball. He sees that, St. John's is, Big East player of the year is going for the ball. He's not intimidated. He dives right at the ball, and it leads to a transition layup and 1 for Latrell Wrightsell. What have you liked about Amari Allen and his toughness, and how you think that is probably a reason why he's getting the minutes that he is, and he's being as trusted as much as he is by Nate Oats in Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what he's doing in every game is he's stuffing the stat sheet, whether it be from a rebounding, whether it be, as you said, he has this. He leads the team in steals. He actually has at least 1 steal in every game. Nate Oats would say that he should have had multiple steals in, I think it was the first game. He had 3, but I think he should have had them more than that. They called him for a couple of reach fouls that Nate didn't particularly love. He should be averaging about 2 steals a game, which obviously is phenomenal for one of your backup guards. He has 2 blocks on the season. He only has 5 turnovers, which from a guy who handles the ball as much as he does, you got to be happy with that. I mean, assist perspective, he's got 12 assists, right? So you're talking 12 assists to 5 turnovers. Just everything he does, like he's physical with the basketball. And it really, to me, it looks like he values the basketball, right? When you look at a positive assist to turnover ratio, somebody who fights for loose rebounds at the level that he does, for somebody that, in my mind, does a really good job. And like I said, he has gotten called from some fouls, of course, but reaches in the right ways. I think he uses his wingspan at his 6'8" length and just his wingspan to defend and swap. I think that he does a lot of switches really, really well. And I think that what he's done this season is even when he got switched onto a guy like Zubi Ejiofor, or he got switched onto Mirkovic a bit last game. I think that he's done a really good job holding his ground, and he has the strength. And I think that's the thing that honestly impresses me the most about Amari Allen is that he has the body, not of a freshman. He has the strength and physicality to go up against a guy who's been in college a little longer, or a guy that's a little older than him, right? Obviously, some of the Illinois guys were younger, but they're European guys that have been in professional basketball a long time. They definitely have some more weight on him than he does, and I think that his body was allowing him to bang with the big guys, so to speak. And I think that that's what really impresses me the most about Amari Allen when you're talking about a physicality standpoint, because he really just makes Alabama's team defense better.
Yeah, everything you said is absolutely correct. We'll end with one thing. We were talking about lineups, the best lineups that Alabama has that can put on the court at one time. Do you think Amari Allen would best be benefited if he was playing a small ball three? Like if, say, LeBaron is like, well, not like small ball, but like LeBaron is the one, Aiden as the two, Amari as the three, Bo Bowen as the four, Bristow as the five. Do you think that's the best lineup Alabama can put out there right now? Like in terms of just not necessarily the five best players on the team, but like the five guys that can fit one another on the court at the same time? Or what would best benefit Amari Allen lineup wise?
I think that lineup is definitely probably your best rebounding lineup, or one of your best rebounding lineups, because I think that having the three, Taylor Bowen, Keaton Bristow, and Amari Allen is probably one of your best rebounding lineups. I think that would be a really, really good lineup to run in transition with. I think that the ability and the speed that lineup could run with is huge. I think that you'd potentially swap out Aiden Holloway for like Latrell Wrightsell, even for some additional perimeter defense if you wanted. I think that Aiden Holloway's done a really good job for perimeter defense this season, but I think that you could potentially swap out Trelly. Additionally, I think that you could run Amari at the 4 if you wanted to, and still leave run Amari at the 4, leave Keaton at the 5, and then slide in like a Houston Millette or a Latrell Wrightsell at the 3. Or Jalil Bethea when he comes back, slide him in at the 3, and I think that would be a really good lineup. But I think, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at today's lineup, I think that lineup that you just mentioned is probably our fastest lineup, our lineup that gets the best in transition, and probably one of our best shooting lineups. Keaton Bristow obviously hasn't taken a 3-point shot yet, but I know he has that ability. He showed that last season at Tarleton State, and he has a really high release. So I think that would probably be one of your best shooting lineups. And I think that what that lineup gives you is a lineup that really would just out condition the other team, right? Like we're just going to run at a speed that y'all are not capable of running at. And at the end of this 4-minute stretch, y'all are going to need IVs and we're going to be ready to go. Right. Right. Like I think that that's what that lineup could do, because if Amari, Taylor, or Keaton get the rebound, they're all going to be able to get out and run with it. Taylor has handles well enough to run in transition. So do Keaton and Amari. I think that that's what that lineup could do for you. And then you also have guys like Aiden and LeBaron that can just attack the rim nonstop if you sag on them at all. So I think that that's the lineup that I personally want to see more out of. And I think that Nate knows that he found something in moving Houston out of the starting lineup last game, because I think he realizes now, and it's something that I think that you want to learn during your scrimmages, but I think that because Alabama was missing some of our guys during scrimmages, and then additionally missing some guys in that first game, like you mentioned, I think that Nate liked what he saw out of Amari Allen, but was curious if he was going to be able to do it in big games. But now in big games, he's had 10 rebounds against St. John's and 11 rebounds against Illinois. He clearly can do it in big games against big rebounders, right? That's Zubi Ejiofor, that's a Visic, that's Mirkovic. Like there's plenty of huge guys that he went up against, and he's come down with the ball. So Amari Allen clearly can do that for you. In my mind, he just earned himself a lot more minutes, and it's the reason why he played 28 minutes last night. Nate clearly trusts him, and I think that it's only going to get better with time.
Yeah, absolutely. Reminder, Alabama fans, Alabama plays in a MTE this upcoming week for Thanksgiving week at the Players Era Tournament, Gonzaga on Monday at 8:30 Central Time at night, and then UNLV Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Central Time. Crazy, crazy times to play basketball games. And depending on those results, they could potentially play on Wednesday or on Thursday. maybe on Wednesday for hopefully the championship of the Players Era tournament. But Gonzaga, man, they look really, really freaking good. So, but it's just another test on a Nate Oats schedule. Owen, thank you for joining us today. Reminder, where can we get all your content from?
Yeah, you can find my content here on YouTube, Barnes on Bama. I put out episodes twice a week. We break down and preview every game. For the Players Era, we're just going to do a tournament kind of breakdown about kind of our bracket and what you need to know about the general teams in the tournament. I'll break down Gonzaga and UNLV since we know those guys are on the schedule. Normally, we do live streams after every game, but as you mentioned, the crazy start times, we're not going to do that one for the Players Era. We'll resume the recap streams for the Clemson game that's going to be happening on December the 3rd. So if y'all are interested in the Alabama basketball content, come check it out. Really like what you've had going on here and really appreciate you for inviting me on.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you on as well. Well, everyone, thank you so much for enjoying our content, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a great Thanksgiving. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.